One of the most common questions I get from people planning their first cruise is, where do I even start? There are so many decisions to make. What cruise line, what cabin, what excursions, what departure point, what itinerary. There's so many things that you have to think about. But some folks fall into the trap of listening to all of the advice on YouTube, and just because that one person or even me says that I really liked that particular itinerary, or I think it would be great for this type of person, that does not mean it's going to be the exact right cruise for you. So rather than telling you what I would choose, I want to walk you through the decisions I think matter the most and the order that I would make them in if I were planning a cruise from scratch today, so that you can choose the right cruise for you. The reason I want you to think of this first is because everything else that you decide will fall under the umbrella of who's going and what would be the best trip for them. So, as I mentioned on my last video about my Alaska regrets, I was not thinking about the group when we were on that trip. It was actually a generational trip, and so we ended up complying with what the elders in our group did, the grandparents wanted to do, and we didn't give enough consideration to our teenagers, and they ended up being bored quite often on the cruise. So the same cruise can create vastly different experiences for everybody that goes. So that is the number one thing you want to take stock of before you make your next decision. And once you know who the vacation is really for, the next decision becomes way easier. Now, this is actually where most people start, but I really don't think it should be your first decision because cruise lines have personality. Some are really focused on families and lots of activities. Others are focused on nightlife and lots of stuff to do. Others are relaxation. Others are luxury. I think you get the point. Every cruise line has its own personality. The better question is, which cruise line matches the experience the people who are traveling want to have? But even the perfect cruise line won't help much if you choose the wrong destination. Now, this one might be the most important decision you make in this process because you're going to remember the destination far longer than you'll remember what restaurant you ate in or if you had a spa treatment. You might already have an inkling of where you want to go, but once you narrow down the cruise line, the actual itineraries are going to differ. What Royal Caribbean offers isn't necessarily what Celebrity offers, which isn't necessarily what Princess offers, and so on. So you're going to have some decisions about itinerary once you've decided on that cruise line. So you need to ask, for the people that are going, what is important to them? Is it all about the scenery? Is it about the nightlife? Is it about history and local customs and experiences? Obviously, each cruise line is going to offer a ton of different itinerary options. So you really want to give some thought to what is going to be the best for the group of people that are going. Even within that, you might have already decided, we're going to Europe, we're going to the Caribbean, we're going to Alaska, whatever it is that you've decided. Even within that itinerary, you have options as well. Very rarely do they go to the exact same itinerary all the time, except for perhaps the Mexican Riviera, which tends to have a lot of the same itineraries. But even Alaska has multiple routes you can do. Europe, of course, has a million routes you can do. So when you're choosing that itinerary, you really want to think about the experiences you want to have on that day-to-day basis when you're in port. What are people wanting to see? What is it that they're wanting to do? And that will help you narrow down and decide the perfect itinerary for you and for the people that you're traveling with. And then once you've decided on the itinerary, there's another decision that people often underestimate. So when choosing the cabin, most people focus only on inside, outside, balcony, or suite. But there's more to your cabin choice than just the type of cabin that you're getting. And what I've learned is location actually matters. So not just what type of cabin, but where on the ship that cabin is located. So depending on the itinerary that you've just chosen in the previous step, that might affect what side of the ship you choose to be on. For example, if you are going to the Mexican Riviera or maybe traveling along the coast of the Mediterranean, you might want to choose the cabin that's going to be on the coast side during the bulk of the trip. If it's a round trip, you could get away with either side usually. But if it's a one-way trip, you might want to choose something on the coast side so you can see as much as possible during your cruise. The other thing to consider is the motion of the ship. Do you have people that are going to be a little bit more susceptible to seasickness? If so, you want to be towards the center of the ship where motion can be a little more stable. Whereas if you're in the aft or the bow, the back or the front, you might have a little bit more motion as it goes through the sea. And then even within that, there's some decisions to make with regard to deck. For instance, you don't want to be right under the pool deck. That can have some noise, not much. It's not like you hear people walking above you in your cabin, but the extra noise that comes from DJs and bands and things at the pool might affect if you're right underneath. Same thing if you are in the back of the ship, which is, to be honest, one of the most fantastic views that they have. You still get the rumbling of the engine and you can get some exhaust. So those are other things that you want to consider. So it's far more than a decision about what type of cabin. Where it is located will affect every single day of your vacation. But if I had to choose between spending more money on my cabin or on this next decision, the answer is it really depends entirely on the trip. Now, this is one that I wish I had thought about differently earlier in my cruising life. I found myself, when I was first starting to cruise, trying to maximize every single destination, every single port, because I was only there maybe once in a lifetime, or certainly not as often as I would like to go. And so I wanted to maximize every opportunity I had to be there. But trying to see everything and fit everything in just left me exhausted. And to be quite honest, once we were done with the cruise, I hardly remembered any of it. So when I make those choices today, I do it completely differently. Rather than trying to fit as much as I can into each port, I look at the trip as a whole and decide what excursions mean the most to me. So if dog sledding in Alaska is on your bucket list, pick that first. If you want to go bungee jumping off of a bridge in the Caribbean somewhere, pick that first. Pick the items that are your bucket list items, or whomever you're traveling with, what their bucket list items are, and plan those first, even if it means you do less excursions and less activity in each port. You want to build your vacation around the experiences that truly matter to you. And then if you have extra money and extra time and you want to sprinkle some more things, then go for it. Now, speaking of spending money, let's talk about one of the most debated cruise decisions. So now that you've chosen everything and you're booked on your vacation, the next question is typically, should I buy those packages? So if you're traveling on Princess, those Plus and Premier packages. If you're traveling on Royal or Holland or any of the other ones, they all have packages now where you can get drinks in a package, Wi-Fi, perhaps gratuities oftentimes. And the question is, should I buy those packages? This is something that people often look for a universal answer about. And there is no universal answer. There is no, everybody should buy the package, end of story. It really depends on you and how you're going to want to live out each day when you're on that ship. It also means that you don't automatically skip them thinking you're going to save money, because that's not necessarily the case either. What you really want to do is look at what you're going to be doing each day. Do you think you're going to be drinking a lot, and not just alcohol? This also includes any kind of specialty coffees or sodas, because those are typically not included on any of the cruises unless you're in those ultra luxury cruises. So how much realistically do you think you're going to drink of any of those things on a daily basis? Are you going to want to participate in any of the specialty dining or casual dining options that usually have a surcharge on all of these ships? And then depending on what that answer is, that will help you decide whether or not a package is worth it for you. Because if you're only going to use it a couple times and maybe not very much, a la carte might be the right thing. If you think you're going to be drinking or eating specialty or any of those other things quite often throughout your trip, then a package is probably the right choice. So ultimately, this decision is not a one-size-fits-all. The right answer depends on how you actually travel. All right, now before any of all of those decisions matter, there's one other decision to make that will determine whether your vacation starts off relaxed or stressed. So now I'm combining these because they really go together. One thing that travel over the years has taught me is breathing room matters. Building space into your vacation can make a world of difference. So this includes things like arriving ahead of your departure. Now, if you're leaving from a local port and you can drive to the port, you might not need to get there a day early. If you're flying in, this is especially important. I'm sure you've heard people say you always want to get in a day early, which is 100% true, because you don't want to risk your flight being canceled or delayed and missing the ship. But beyond just the day before, if it's to a new destination you've never been to before, why not consider adding maybe even 2 nights before if you have the time and the budget for it, but building in some extra time, some extra space to explore that new city will help create some of this breathing room I'm talking about, where you extend things out so you can enjoy each moment and not be so packed that you're running from thing to thing to thing and you barely have time to even breathe, let alone enjoy the things that you're doing. This also plays into the cruise itself when you're planning those excursions. I highly recommend not overdoing every single day. If you can, try to keep it to just one excursion or none per day and build in lots of breathing space. Because when we overbook it, those are the times you get back from vacation and you say, I need a vacation from my vacation because you're just too exhausted. And by building in that, what I keep saying is breathing space, you leave space for being spontaneous, for doing things out of the blue that you maybe just found out about. Maybe you just met a local and they told you about some great thing that you should do. If you have that space, you can go do that great thing. So I want to really encourage you, as you're planning your vacation, to not try to plan every second of it. Build in that space, and I promise you will enjoy your vacation all the more. And if you find yourself bored and you want more to do, then you add more to do at that time. So if you're planning your first cruise, my advice is simple. Don't try to make every decision at once. Start with the decisions that shape the overall experience. You get those right, and most of the smaller decisions become far easier. And if you're still deciding which cruise line you want to take, I recommend my video on how to choose your first cruise, because this is going to be the next step after you make these decisions. And if I can help you plan your first cruise, I've left a link below for how you can work with me. And other than that, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Happy sailing.